Great, thank you, Peter. Thank you for that intro, and everyone that's attending. Thank you for coming along to this session. So before we jump in, the presentation's not going to be too long. You don't have to listen to me for too much of your afternoon. But before we get started, if you've attended any of these calls already or any to come, apologies, but you'll see this slide a couple of times. Just a little bit about Avolution and the tool Abacus. So we've been working and leading in the EA space for 23 years now, and a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We are a truly global company with customers using the tool based in over 100 countries. And they're using Abacus to support their activities in numerous use cases and across many different frameworks and notations. So this is going to be a short 10 to 15 minute presentation to look at how you can use different elements of Abacus's out-of-the-box functionality to automate the analysis of your EA model. This includes the use of reporting views designed in the Abacus diagramming tool, dashboards configured around specific stakeholder requirements, and scheduled algorithms built using Abacus's Visual Algorithm Composer. So, to demonstrate some of this functionality, the use case I'll be basing the presentation around is the ability to track and report on changes within the application portfolio over time. In this case, rolling 30, 60, and 90-day periods. But obviously, the logic can be used or amended to cover any time frame that you choose. Equally, it doesn't have to just be the application portfolio. So why am I presenting this use case today? We've heard from a number of clients over the past months who are seeking to do something similar to this that I'm going to show you, providing greater understanding of how their models are changing and report this information to their key stakeholders in a clear and concise manner. All of what I showed today, while focused on applications, is agnostic of any one domain, with the theories being expandable to all areas of your architecture. So I hope in the next 10 minutes or so, you'll find some form of inspiration for what you're wanting to do in your projects and how you can begin to leverage more of Abacus's capabilities. Equally, all of this is automatable using Abacus Console, and once configured, can be left to provide you and your stakeholders with simple, accurate reporting. So I want to start by acknowledging, as part of the background of this, one of our clients, RS Components, who originally brought this particular use case to us, and for allowing me to present what is largely an output of the work started with them. Their original use case sought to track changes in the application portfolio following a process where the existing portfolio was baselined by the EA team. Any movements in the portfolio after that point would be tracked on a monthly basis, considering new applications introduced to the enterprise, as well as those that were previously not catalogued, and those that were discovered to be in use that weren't previously approved. This translated to 3 statuses being captured for applications added to the portfolio. So we've got new in, not catalogued, and unsanctioned tech. Applications that were retired would also be tracked. And then these changes would be reported in a dashboard view showing monthly comparisons in all of these categories, as well as capturing overall figures. So this is just a quick snapshot of some of the outputs of that, what that may have looked like at the time. So there were some challenges associated with this approach. And the first of those was actually the ability to automate these algorithms, as they required a date range to be entered for each month that you wish to analyze. So in theory, this could be done, but it would require 12 instances of the same algorithms so that you could enter a date range for each month which you wanted to do the analysis for. This, however, does add unwanted complexity and volume to your project and presents significant challenges in maintaining the algorithms if ever changes were required, such as new attributes being introduced. As such, the example I'll show you in a moment is based on rolling time periods. This minimizes the number of algorithms required and there's no manual intervention once configured and scheduled to run on the Abacus console. There was also a challenge of how reusable the approach was across other domains and architectures. So when we were considering, obviously, that this is something a number of clients had been asking for in similar terms, maybe in different domains, we're seeing that obviously levels of hierarchy and structure of how those components relate can vary greatly. So you don't necessarily compose your application portfolio in the same way that you would your business layer with your processes or your capabilities, or even your technology layer with some of those components in there. So the outputs of the analysis were being captured on the top level grouping. So this is fine when you can guarantee the number of levels that you need to attribute up when you're looking at algorithms. However, this is rarely the case, as I've just said. So this approach also leads to lots of attributes being added to your grouping component type at a metamodel level. And those attributes would actually only be relevant to one domain. So again, this is adding complexity and volume to your model where you don't necessarily want it. So we've overcome that by just, in this example I'll show, I've introduced something that I've called a KPI component, but you might consider it a reporting component. But what this does is it connects for all of the applications in the model. They are connected to one single KPI component. And this allows for the simple attribution of data. From my applications, I can aggregate and then attribute it to this one KPI component. So this introduction of a specific component for capturing aggregated data from your different domains is what makes this method easily reusable across your whole architecture. So now just to jump into the demonstration, for the sake of the presentation today, I have pre-recorded it, and I will talk through that recording as we go. But just to save you having to listen to me sort of talk at you for 2 to 3 minutes or sit in silence while Abacus does its thing, I've pre-recorded it and I'll take you through that now. So I want to walk you through the dashboard first of all. So before I hit play on the demonstration, just talk you through some of the thinking here. So creating clean, easy to use dashboards can be an incredibly effective way of driving engagement within your organization and showing the value of EA. With every dashboard created, it's really important to understand its purpose and intended audience. In this case, the target audience of the dashboard are senior stakeholders who want quick access to accurate, concise, and easy to understand information. As such, it's not overcomplicated. It utilizes a report card. This has been designed in the Abacus diagramming tool, and hopefully just provides really simple snapshots of information. And they are all based, again, on this single KPI component, which we're attributing the data to. So just created a replica of that same component type, repeated it on this report card multiple times, and just pointed each shape to a different property that's stored on that component. We've also got some chart visualizations here, again, just pointing at the KPI component. But this just allows us to show that, that comparison with changes over time. So in each category for the different statuses, we can see last 30, 60, and 90 days. Then at the bottom of the dashboard, we have a very simplified view of the whole application portfolio. So obviously, if you were creating an application portfolio dashboard, you would probably include more than this. You may look at your technical and business fit, but for the sake of this, just about providing this catalog where we can see our full application list, as well as to the left, you can see a pie chart. And this is displaying just the numbers of these additions to our application portfolio since the baselining process took place. So this can be used to quickly filter as well. So if at any point we wanted to just narrow down this application catalog to show only those which have been retired or those which are new in, a simple click of this pie chart will filter my catalog here. So hopefully that gives you some context as you look at this dashboard and and think, okay, who's coming in to view this? How can they quickly and easily get the information that they need? Hopefully you can see how through just a really simple dashboard design, we've achieved that. So I'll just hit play on the demo and I'll talk you through some of what's happening as it goes. So what I'll do just to show you obviously how the algorithms will ultimately work and change our reporting view to provide an accurate reflection. Here I'm just adding a couple of applications to the portfolio via the catalog. In real terms, this may happen on a separate dashboard that you've configured for your application managers to come in, or you as an EA team have been working through and adding these in as you've identified them in the organization. And I've also set one of the applications to be retired. Again, for the sake of this demonstration, I'm using my admin privileges to push through the changes so you don't have to wait on this call for an auto commit to happen. I've cut out the middle period as the Abacus console runs, but this may take 5 to 10 minutes in real terms. But you'll see I'm now pulling the changes back through. And once those changes have been updated in the project, you will see hopefully that here we go, that our application report card here has changed. So our total count of applications has increased only by 1 because we've added 2, but we've retired 1. Also, our not catalog, our unsanctioned have increased by 1, as has our retired. And again, obviously our different visuals here. So depending on different people looking at it, they may wish to see the reporting in a different way. A couple of other things to point out from these algorithms. So using metadata, which is automatically captured in Abacus in terms of created by, the created date of a component, we're able to run these algorithms and see those which have been added recently. So simple calculation of looking at the created date and then seeing the last, in this case, 30, 60, 90 days. We can see and just filter our data set down to just those created within those time windows. But there's more of a challenge around tracking the retired components. So in this case, obviously we don't want to delete them from the architecture completely, but how can we report on them when we don't actually have a specific date for them being retired? So all this was a simple introduction of a small algorithm which looked at any retired components in this application portfolio. And if they didn't have a retired date assigned to them yet, it would apply today's date to it. Now, obviously, the theory behind this is that you're automating it. You'll be running it in the console maybe once a day or even after every commit. So as those are running, you're always going to have sort of an accurate capture of these date figures in here as well. So that is the majority of the presentation. Hopefully, you can see how using this KPI component and the different features within the tool here and being able to automate and schedule different algorithms, we can get really sort of clear, concise, accurate reporting and how we can present that to stakeholders in a really helpful way for them. And hopefully as well, using that KPI component, you can maybe think of ways that you could utilize it in your own projects for the different domains as well.